Okay.
You didn't unmute us.
Oh.
Just
Oh, good.
What?
start all over.
Sorry.
We did it. What? For real?
I just unmuted it.
Oh, that was.
It was
Damn
muted
it.
there,
My
yeah.
bad. I
Damn
am
it.
so bad at looking at
Hi,
that.
everybody. Welcome to the show now.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is
I mean,
JoCo
they
vibes.
could hear us on the radio. So
I know.
unfortunately, you're going to hear a repeat because anybody watching on social media did not hear. Good morning. It's
Good
another
morning.
edition of JoCo Vibes. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023.
Can I say talk about it Tuesday again?
Yes, you could say.
Okay, talk about it Tuesday.
Talk about it Tuesday.
And
Taco.
that was your
Taco about
Diana
it.
Roberts coming in.
Taco about it.
Taco.
Sarah's like, I don't want anybody thinking that was me. That was Diana.
I am Tiffany Carlen. Diana Roberts is here. Red
Hello.
is here, aka Sarah Reeves, aka Sarah Arden.
Hey.
And Nona Reed, of course, aka Nona Collins Reed. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
Hey.
You're a Collins, which is also a long time name here
Yes.
in Johnson County.
Yes.
Look at your face.
I will be
Mhm.
Diana Henderson soon. We're gonna have to get used to it.
Wow.
I know.
Are you related to Harry?
Everybody got really quiet.
No, my dad. I know, right?
No, we got
I used
it.
to get that in school.
I
That's
think the
messed
first
up.
thing everybody thought was, she getting remarried? Oh, no. She's getting
No. Oh my God. Too soon. Too soon. Way too soon. Oh, and not happening again.
Okay, so as I
Smart
was
woman.
saying,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
said to the radio, but did not say to social media. In the news, I mean, it's NFL opening weekend.
We'll get it
didn't
this
check
time.
my DraftKings after the game last night, but
Are you in?
I didn't do
fantasy
well on-
football.
yeah,
Oh,
and I'm in the
okay.
sports book. I know
Oh,
it's
That's
it's
exactly
terrible.
what it is, fantasy.
It is fantasy because hey, but it's a $5 bet. You know,
I like fantasy.
It's not like I'm wrong show, Diana.
Oh, my bad. Wait.
Hey, I knew we were
That's-
coming in here feisty this morning, but I didn't know how spicy
Oh.
it might get.
Well,
Yeah,
And
well,
Red, you're sitting at the table.
well, hey, we do have a very good-looking fireman joining us here.
Oh.
Short in for the second half.
And he can sit
Uh,
by me.
You can sit by William Sclafani is joining us, and he is a white settlement fireman. He did live here in Burleson, but has moved to Dallas. But he is joining us because he was.
He moved to Dallas and
He was working
He
in
at
did.
White Settlement. Oh,
Yeah.
poor guy.
But you remember,
Yeah.
hey, do you?
I know
It's
who. I know
Sclafani.
it's
Okay.
the bagel.
It's
Bagel
our big
brothers.
shh.
Oh.
Well, that's the son. But anyway,
Oh, it's the
shh, that's our
son.
secret.
Okay.
Well, it's not really our secret, but it's our
I
Jersey
didn't say
bagels.
I feel really lost right
Damn
now.
it! Good
All I-
job, Nona.
All I said was the bagel.
I don't know what's
That's
going
it.
on.
Everybody
know
right
what-
now is Googling Sclafani bagels
Oh,
in Dallas.
God.
Go ahead and do it, but we're bringing them to Burleson.
Freaking good.
Ugh, it's real Jersey bagels, and they have a whole science to it. So anyway, but
Okay.
I don't know if we'll talk about bagels at all with William,
Probably not.
but they're from Jersey,
Okay.
and so they are my people.
Sweet.
But anyway, so
'Cause we're not.
he participated. Yes,
we
you
better
are.
be. Wait a minute.
I just
he-
had to do that.
Hold up. No.
You're on
No.
board.
Oh, sorry. My
All right,
bad.
but he yesterday was 9/11, as I think most of the world knows now.
I would
what's going
hope
on.
so. Yeah.
Anyway, but he got to participate in something so incredible. So, which was a tribute to the fallen firefighters and those that have survived and go on to serve. And so we're gonna talk about something really cool. All right, but
Whoa, what
Aaron
happened?
Rodgers, if you know what Aaron Rodgers is, which clearly some people at the table do not, he is a quarterback.
We know now.
Almost
now.
Hall of Famer, and he was injured within the first few minutes of his. That's our
Oh,
guest,
Okay.
but he's going to sit on the couch for a little bit. Anyway, so he was injured, most likely his Achilles tendon, and maybe out for the entire season. And this was a few minutes into the game. So
Right.
that's
Like
very
right at the
sad.
beginning.
But poor guy, if he doesn't play this season, if he's out, he's still going to get $75 million this year and next year.
Goodness.
So because it's a $200 million 4-year contract, $200 million to play football.
To play for the Jets.
But I'm not a big Jets fan. So, I mean, I was actually raised a Cowboys fan, believe it or not, and a Giants fan, of course. Anyway, so that's happening. Prayers for Morocco as they still recover more people, and that pray that they keep recovering more people. The death toll's up to 2,800
Good grief.
people. So East Coast is getting slammed by rain. Massachusetts is drowning. They got dumped on 9 inches because of the Hurricane Lee that's off.
I was about to
the
say, at
coast.
least Hurricane Lee did go a little further out to sea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
a
mean,
category 3 right now, but it's far enough out there
Yeah.
that we should just get
I
rain.
mean,
And
it brought me
in
it
big
brought me
news,
work, but
in big
I don't want to
news,
see people get
it's a
hurt.
high of 85 degrees
I
today
know,
here.
right?
It
Praise
feels
the
so
Lord.
beautiful.
And
And the
the-
next 3 days,
That's
it's
why I
like
wore a
70
jacket. I was like, I'm gonna get cold today.
I'm so happy.
I'm looking.
I'm
at
not
you.
gonna
Too,
get
and I'm
cold.
burning
I
up
like-
right now.
Remember, I'm
I'm drinking
50-something.
coffee.
We're live
Yes.
Tuesday.
we're not.
Typically Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Can I have a
Yes.
tissue, please?
I think you're a robot. I don't think you're real.
She's an
There you go, ma'am. Oh
I'm
my
AI.
gosh.
Well, I was just say so Tuesday,
I'm from
Wednesdays,
outer
and Thursdays at 9 a.m. I'm just curious. And in all the time that we've been on air together, have I been drunk?
Never.
Okay,
What?
just checking.
Oh.
I just want to know if I have a habit of getting drunk in the morning.
No.
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 Oh my
Okay, just-
god!
Nona, have you been slipping whiskey in her coffee again?
No, I'm
am I
just
I'm
checking.
just kidding.
I
That
mean,
was a joke. Okay.
I know. Oh, someone will.
well, I just
Apparently that has been said about you.
yeah, something like 7:50
Maybe it's
in the
because
morning.
she's really an alien.
Maybe it's because
Eh,
people don't know how to
'Cause she's an
read
IA.
a car accident report. Is probably what it comes down
Well,
to. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
I was just checking.
Hi,
you know.
Sister Brianna.
Okay.
Yeah, morning.
Hi,
Bree.
Bree.
Good morning,
Watching.
Bree.
All right, so obviously lots of documentaries yesterday played and aired about 9/11, and it's been 21 years,
Wow.
It's insane.
right?
Dang.
It's 22.
22. I'm sorry. I'll be
22. Oh,
married
wow, that-
21.
And the reason I know is Haley was only 3 months old when it happened, and she's
Um,
22 now.
I was 18. I think I was talking about this
Mhm.
yesterday. I think I was 18.
No, it's
I
not
was
18.
17. I was 17.
Oh, you were 17?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have
was
to
like
do
17
math
or
right
18.
now.
I know. I don't
Are
want to
you
do
asking me
math
to
right
do
now.
math?
No, I don't want to do it. So
Hey,
if you
it's
do it, I
just
don't wanna do it.
easier
I'm
to
not
go
gonna
off
ask you
my
to.
daughter.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna go off of that.
She was only 3 months old when it happened.
Okay.
So
Yep, I
So-
was
it was the year she was
not.
born.
We weren't married yet, so we'll be married 21 years in October. And so it was before we got married.
Mhm.
But
I
I was in where. Well, my story's probably a little bit longer than everybody else's. So where were you on 9/11?
Okay, so I was working for a veterinarian
info.
clinic. I was fresh out of high school. I'd already graduated, so but I was working as a vet tech, and my dad was in the living room and he was watching the news, and he pulls me in and he's like, "Diana, come here." And I was like, "Okay, what's up, Dad?" And he was like, "I want you to watch this with me." And I watched it with him. And as we were watching it, I remember like they were showing the footage of the first plane crashing. And then all of a sudden, as they're talking about it, then the second one comes in. And my dad and I know we just started crying because it was sad.
Mhm.
That was
Right.
terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
That was terrible.
Mhm.
I was thinking about all those people and like who would do something like that. Why would, all the people on the plane for one, and then all the
Mhm.
people in that building that just showed up for work.
Mhm.
2 buildings
Well, 2
Right,
buildings.
yeah.
Yes, 2 buildings.
plus the Pentagon,
Yeah.
plus the
The flight.
flight in
flight.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So
I was in biology in Miss Lacosic's biology class at high school. And she turned, she got
wow,
a
you're
call.
young.
I know, I'm like,
darn
wait,
it.
am I older than you? I didn't know that. What? Okay, keep going. My bad.
I was born in 84.
Oh, okay. Yes, I am.
So
Bree's the big
she gets
sister.
a call. Yeah,
Oh,
Brianna's
okay.
the big sister.
Okay.
She's the littler, bigger sister. Bigger, littler sister. I don't know. Whatever.
Hey.
And she got the call, and she went to her TV, turned on her TV, and we start watching the news. And then, like, all of a sudden, school's let out, right? And
Right.
so I go home. My mom's not answering her phone, and I'm freaking out. And then I get all the way to the house, and she's not there. And I'm like, I don't even know where to go. And I was like, she was at Aunt Rose's house. It's her best friend. I love that woman. She was in the hospital whenever I was born.
Tickled. I don't know why you're tickled right now, but you are. Okay.
Anyway, but it was second home. And it was just a very surreal moment, right? And
Yeah.
it was terrifying that I couldn't find my mother, even though we were way far away from all of that. But
people wanted to know. I mean, people wanted to know what was going on. Lipstick. Nona, where were you? Clearly nursing a 3-month-old.
Yeah.
Actually, school had already started.
Oh.
So I had left my 3-month-old with my mother-in-law and was teaching 6th grade at Kerr. So
did they flip on the news? Did they? Sorry, but like even for you, did they flip on the news?
Yeah.
Did they turn TVs on?
Well, in middle school, Mr. Utley was the principal at the time, and he was guarding them really well. But I wouldn't say well because we had it on in the library, and we'd all take turns watching each other's class and then going in and kind of getting an update. We had a teacher come in and almost like scream they're attacking us.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and we're talking 6th grade.
Yeah.
And remember, 6th grade is middle school here in Burleson, and these kids have just left their elementary. We're less than 2 weeks into school. They're still trying to find their way.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out their locker combination. And then you have a 6th grade teacher who comes in and blurts out to all of us, they're attacking us. They're attacking the U.S. They're attacking us. And we were like, what are you talking about? I was teaching language arts. And so, and then Paul called us all in, and we just had to, try to keep things under wrap, not kind of tell the kids what was going on.
Of course. You don't want to
They
scare
knew,
them.
all of them knew something was going on. Parents were coming to pick up kids were already, and people are like, why are they leaving? And just all day we had to say, you'll understand when you can get home and you can talk to your parents, and then they all got upset because things were canceled. And I told them, you'll understand when you get home, just hug your parents when you get home. But I did run in to have some kids that knew people or related to people. So even though we're here in little small town Burleson, there was a lot of people affected.
Yeah.
And the following year, that group I actually moved up with. So they're a very close group and still are. And we made, of course, it was, again, my language arts class, and we made little memorials, and I made a big, it's supposed to be like a wall mural, and I hung it every year to remember. And so, it's a beautiful thing, and I still have it. And ever so often I'll post it on my Facebook. So
very cool.
But yeah,
That is
it was
very
hard
cool.
because, I'm a new mom. I'm freaking out. I can't get a hold of my mother-in-law either because of the phone situation.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be there with my daughter. And I remember for months and months, I used to be sitting in the chair, and I could look outside and I could look up in the sky, and I'd just be watching the sky like crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be just holding her and watching the sky. And it was nerve-wracking. So
There was a guy that became a part of our family. His name's Matt Pham. We call him our Vietnamese brother. And he was living up there, and he was actually supposed to be in the area on that day. And for whatever reason, he didn't end up going. And he's the guy that you never thought would ever get married, kind of thing. And then he ended up meeting the love of his life. She's Romanian, Christina. And whenever she was pregnant, she was always wearing like these high fashion heels, and like they lived in New York, and they were living like the most glamorous life. Right. And she ends up when she gets pregnant, he's like, what are you wearing? And she's wearing these big old high heels, and like she had always done. And he said, if something happens, are you going to be able to pick up my son and run as fast as you can? And so like from then on out, like she never wore her high heels out like that with the kid, like just making sure she could pick up the kid and run if ever she needed to, but those are things that
go through your head,
change your life completely.
Yeah.
You think about things like that.
Yeah.
It's huge.
That
The
is huge.
smallest of things you just change.
Yeah. It's true because it's traumatic, so it's
Mhm.
always there,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're like actually there
Yeah.
when it happened, and just watching it was still very emotional.
That
You
was,
know,
I mean, I would say
I
that
feel
that was, I mean, the hardest part, but I was in the air when it happened.
yes. We want to hear your story.
And so I didn't even know it was happening. I just said, I had managed 19 sales reps across 9 states at the time. So I traveled, 3 to 4 days a week.
Right.
I was gone flying, and most of the time I was flying Southwest. And so that morning I had to go to Denver. Southwest didn't go there yet. There's a
Mhm.
purpose in sharing that because I hated flying like
Mhm.
American or United, or it was like something always went wrong with the plane or just something was wrong. And so we get up in the air and I'm flying from Lubbock to Dallas first, Lubbock to DFW first, and then DFW to Denver. And we get on the plane in DFW, and we're up in the air, and I just kind of remember saying to the guy, and it was like a very open, there was not a lot of people on our plane at all. And I remember saying to the guy across the aisle, I was like, man, it just never fails. Every time I fly something other than Southwest, I mean, there's, something's not, they never came out and gave us coffee. They never did coffee, and I was starving. And this at the
Aw,
time,
poor Tiffany didn't get her stuff.
well, this is the time where you were changing over from the
That's right.
smaller Lubbock plane to the Dallas to the Denver plane. You were in this small little area, so there wasn't anything to eat, and I'm just kind of used to my routine,
Mhm.
my travel routine, and this was like a 6 a.m. I was on a very early flight to DFW, so we're up in the air and we're like, man, this is just weird. Why did they never came around? Well, they finally came out and served us. And it was a very, very quiet flight. It was odd,
Surreal.
but you didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. So we didn't know anything until the plane landed in Denver and was taxiing in. And that's when the pilot came over the intercom and told us
Wow.
that what had happened. And so by the time I got up into the airport, everybody's trying to get through to me, but nobody can get through to me. I was one of 6 regional managers, and I was the only one flying that day. It was absolutely like, praise God, because I had a friend in Chicago, one out of Long Island, and they easily could have been, on one of these planes. And my dad was the GM for the FBO private airport at Pittsburgh International. So when I get up, there's a news crew in the Denver airport, and they're reporting on the crash in Pennsylvania, but I don't know where it's at. So the first person I called or I got through to was my dad, to make sure that wasn't anywhere near him, because they were rushing us out. We were what I was told is that we were Todd said it was one of the last 6 planes to land.
Wow.
I know we were at least one of the last 6. And so what the pilot had told us when he came over the intercom was that he was given an option. There was confusion between whether there was going to be an attack on Dulles or Dallas, and the our pilot was given caution, and was told, you can either go on, you can keep going to Denver, or you can turn around. You make the choice. And so there was things that Todd and I learned about my flight, or these last 6 flights, on the 1-year anniversary, and we were watching a documentary, and we were actually in San Francisco, and actually we were in Napa, and there was a bunch of people from Napa lost their lives, and because they were on that one of the planes, and so Napa actually got a piece of steel from the Twin Towers, and there was a cross made out of steel, and it's in Napa. So that was really cool, because we did go see that and pay tribute. But so our pilot said I was closer. I just made a decision to go on. I didn't know if it was going to be the right decision or the wrong decision or what, but here we are.
Right.
And so you got in, and I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Denver airport. You have to then get onto a subway from the terminals over to baggage claim and all of that. And so everybody's scrambling. I'm flying in because I'm supposed to go right to my hotel and interview. I was interviewing a new rep for Denver. And so it was crazy. People were just in the baggage claim crying and on the phone. You could tell there was people coming out of New York and they couldn't find people. And I lost a couple of classmates who worked in the towers because I am from New Jersey. And it was it's terrifying because I have family all over the East Coast and you didn't know what was coming next.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, my whole family is terrified because nobody can get through to me.
Right.
So we get over to baggage claim and I have no way to get to my hotel because it was supposed to be a shuttle. All the shuttles were done. They were literally kicking us out of the airport to close everything down. And to this day, I know that this was an angel because I don't know where she came from. I still can't see her face anymore.
I have a couple of those.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see her face. And it was almost like a Pinto. It was like, and she just walked up to me out of nowhere and said, "You look lost. Can I give you a ride?" And that's how people were helping people like throughout the entire day.
That's
And she
awesome.
gave me a ride to my hotel. I have no recollection of her name. I really can't see her face at all. And so I got to the hotel and I got up to my room and I was on a high floor and it was like everybody else. Nobody wanted to be on the high floor. I begged to be moved down, but there was no room. And then, later that night, anyway, so I was like, okay, what am I going to do here? Am I going to sit up in my room? Because now I'm watching the towers fall. And that's a lot of what I have, not just from flying
Mhm.
or being in the air, but more what I was witnessing on the ground is what I have PTSD from. It's more from what I saw
Mhm.
on the news and what they were showing live. And so,
How
I
long-
was, yeah,
Go ahead.
no, what?
How long were you stuck in Colorado? after
Well,
that?
so that's kind of what it was like. I was like, all right, I can't just sit here. I've got people who, they were calling me, are we still interviewing? And I was like, you know what? Yes. I said, we're just moving the location to the bar because I need a Bloody Mary. I was just really freaked out.
Well,
you know?
everyone
Yeah.
was, right? I mean,
Yeah.
And so
like-
yes, I did have a drink in the morning in a hotel, and I was not
On
driving.
the job.
Oh, my boss knew. I was
I
like, listen,
know.
we've moved it to the bar. This is what the morning of 9/11, in case you're just tuning in and hearing about me having a Bloody Mary in a morning. And so I went on to interview 3 different people for the job. And one of the guys came in and he brought me a bag of airplane bottles. And I was like, you're hired. So, no, that's not the reason I hired him, but it was nice to have some sort of relief. It was the oddest experience of my life. I mean, to kind of go on and interview people in the midst of this, because we're all watching the news. It's all around us.
Yeah.
And then getting up to my room. And I mean, I probably, of course I talked to Todd a lot, but I probably talked to my dad the most and probably was on the phone with him for 3 or 4 hours at a time.
Mhm.
And the room next to me were foreign men. I could hear them speaking another language, but I couldn't tell what it was. And I was begging to be
sure.
moved. I was
Yeah.
begging to be moved. So the downstairs called up, the manager called up and he goes, all right, just want to let you know, that's a room full of pilots from Brazil and they're trapped here too. And I said, okay. All right. Like
Okay,
he
okay,
eased
Brazil,
my,
that's all right.
he eased my mind.
Right.
And I appreciated that. So, but I was stuck there 3 days. So I went on and trained my new rep, and until they opened up the one-way car rentals, so I could drive back, because I mean, there was no
Right.
other way to get back. And yeah, that was just crazy. I never listened to talk radio as much as I did that
Right.
car ride, because that's all I listened to. And I was like, thank God the speed limit's 75, because I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
I was in a hurry. All right, we've got William Sclafani joining us, and we're going to talk more about 9/11 when we come back from the break.
Stay tuned.
Abnormal realities.
I love my mom.
Yep. She sent me a message.
My mom did?
Yeah, Wednesday night. And she invited me over tomorrow night to watch Titanic and share a bowl of popcorn. And I accepted.
You did?
Yep.
That'd be fun.
And she calls it Chaps Only Night every Saturday night.
Look,
Miss Dixie,
look.
how you doing? He said, it's my mom, bro. All right, it's my mom.
I want to hear the answer to the Titanic and popcorn. Go ahead, Mom. What's up?
Oh!
Hi, boys.
Hi,
I
Mom.
just wanted to ask Rocky if he wanted butter on that popcorn or not.
I
my
would rather
God.
have the butter somewhere else, but if popcorn's the only place I can have it, I'll take it.
Jeez,
Hey,
dude.
nobody says I can't roll around in it for a little bit.
All right, Mom.
That is my
Love
girl.
you.
I love you,
Mom.
Dixie.
Abnormal realities
Bye, Mom. Love you.
Dixie.
Bye. I love you too.
with Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Holy crap.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
JoCo Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
All right.
We are back.
Welcome back to the second half of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. And can I have that?
Which one?
The commercial.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. Hello. I don't know. You're always
I'm like,
pointing
hey.
over there every time. It happens every time. And I'm like, what?
I'm Tiffany Carlen with Diana Roberts, Sarah Reeves, Arden, Red, Nona Reed, and our guest is here in, look, I just did that by accident. So sorry. In studio, William Sclafani, firefighter extraordinaire, bagel family, my favorite bagel family ever. So welcome to the table. We're going to get something out of the way here really quick. JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas. That would be the radio. That would be the family of hosts that we have here on the station throughout the week. Not me.
Right.
The radio station. JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. TuneInJoCo.com is the place to find all the ways to listen and watch. And the station app is also available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store because you can listen to all the replays. All of our shows turn into podcasts once they are done airing, whether it's video and audio. So Spotify, iTunes, and so on and so forth. Check out our lineup and more at JoCoCommunityRadio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep at 844-TEX. Hail. Hail. That's 844-839-4245. Get them in your corner before the next storm hits because 99% of the time, insurance does not want to pay the full amount of the claim. Sad to say, but it's the truth. And be sure to dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com. And we cannot forget our favorite doctor,
Yes.
Dr. Ho.
Dr. Can.
Dr. Can Ho. And
Yes.
he can take care of all of your spine and joint issues that you may be experiencing. There is a team that you can rely on with positive physiological effects you can feel. Comprehensive holistic and wellness care programs are right at your fingertips. And all you have to do is go to his website. He's located in Crowley, Texas, the Advanced Joints and Spine Center. drhoclinic.com. drhoclinic.com is where you want to get all the details on how to get an appointment, where they're located, and his phone number. So we love you, Dr. Ho.
Yes.
And Angela Roca, one of our very own hosts here on JoCo Community Radio, Vet for Vets, is one of his clients and speaks just amazing things about him. So, all right. Well, with that all out of the way, William Sclafani, How are
Welcome.
you?
Good. Thank you all so much for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you for your service, first of all.
Yes.
It's a privilege to do such a thing. I really appreciate it.
Well, the privilege is ours because you're a first responder, you're a firefighter, and can I tell a quick story about how we've met? This is our first time meeting face to face, but we've been friends on Facebook, and it's because of his dad and the bagel shop. Has your dad ever told you the whole story, or have I?
I'm not so sure about the whole story.
Okay. So last year, a year ago, my cousins were here from New Jersey and we were talking bagels, and we were talking about how this project that we are about to develop, we want to bring a bagel shop. And so I was looking at, we were talking about places in New Jersey. Hey, who wants to open up another place out here? And they were like, hey, have you even looked around here to see if there's, authentic bagel shop? And I'm like, I'll Google it, and I'm like, because where are you going to get a good Jersey bagel, right? And I pull up Sclafani's and I'm like, what? Okay. And so I'm looking, and this is not too far after your dad had opened, I believe. So,
right.
but I thought but I couldn't tell if he was open or not because I couldn't get the menu to download. And so I was like, well, let me just call and see if they're open, and did they survive COVID is kind of what I was thinking. And your dad answers the phone. It's 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And he's like, hello, Sclafani's. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think you'd be answering the phone. I mean, it doesn't show your hours. Are you actually still open? He goes, well, I'm not open right now, but yeah, we're open. And so we get into this whole conversation. We ended up being on the phone for an hour talking bagels and the whole science of what your family does and why the bagels here are actually authentic Jersey bagels. And so he's like, yeah, oh, you're in Burleson? Okay, my son lives there. And I'm like, stop it. He's like, yeah, he's a white settlement fireman and lives in Burleson. I'm like, that's just crazy. And so boop, boop, boop. And I search up William and I send him a friend request. I think I sent you a message too.
I think you did.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm not creeping, I just met your dad, and so we've been up to the bagel shop. I don't think you've been there any time that I've been up there, but your sister has. I've met your sister,
Yeah.
one of your sisters.
I live in Dallas now, and I'm there every other day. I'm off basically, whether it's helping out or just eating, hanging out with family.
How can you not? I mean, first of all, most people don't even know what Taylor ham is, and
I know.
it's very difficult to teach them unless I get to feed them Taylor ham.
But which side of the Taylor ham versus pork roll were you on?
I'm on the Taylor ham just because we always called it Taylor ham.
I'm right there with you.
Right? Like when you walk in and you order a Taylor ham, egg and cheese and a hard roll.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what you're talking about. No one ever went, what's
Except
Taylor
for us
ham?
right now.
Well, I do.
Okay.
She does
'Cause
now.
I did go with them to the bagel shop.
Well, I'm sad I wasn't invited. What the hell?
Well, this was on our way back after one of the pageants.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you guys had anybody come in and order a pork roll?
Oh, all the time, every day.
They'll say pork roll?
Absolutely.
Really? I'm okay, but are they from here or are they from the East Coast and they transplanted?
Both A and B are correct.
This is crazy. I've never ordered it as pork roll, like ever. And the Taylor ham was more expensive. So our family of 7 kids, we didn't always get Taylor ham, but we still called it Taylor ham because that's all we knew. All right. So let's get past the bagels. And why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I tell you to bring a bag of bagels?
Right? That's what I'm saying right
Especially
now.
since he came from Dallas
am
and didn't know
so
he lived in
mad at
Dallas
myself.
now. Thought he
I'm
still lived here in Burleson.
I'm so mad at myself. When you said you were coming, I didn't even think like, hey, grab me a bag of bagels.
Oh, I'd still be more than happy to bring y'all.
I know, but I need to go see your
I mean, he is coming to White Settlement. We can always go to White Settlement.
Are you
and
still
meet
in
him.
White
Right,
Settlement?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Or we can always have him back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just saying.
There we go.
He's
Yep.
like, I'm down.
Sure.
So I was, so people's posts, obviously pop up on Facebook, and William and I are Facebook friends. And yesterday I was scrolling through and he has a post about what he did. And I want you to, I love that you got the opportunity to do this. And so please tell people, please just, first of all, give everybody a history of how long you've been a fireman in White Settlement and your service and what made you, choose to become a fireman.
Well, firefighting for me has always been a lifelong passion. I mean, my father was one when I was a child, and I've caught it ever since. I started out as a volunteer when I used to live in New Jersey. Did that for a couple of years, moved to Virginia, became a volunteer in Rockwall, Texas, prior to working for White Settlement, and I've been a career fireman for White Settlement since November of 2018.
Nice.
And as
Bet
time
we
goes
know
on, I just
mutual people. So.
certainly, as time goes on, I love the job more and more. It's truly a privilege to be a fireman.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So
Love it.
this year you got to participate. This is the first time you got to participate in this,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
So tell everybody what you did, because this is they've been doing this every year, correct? The 9/11.
Yes, ma'am. The Dallas one has a history of 12 years. So what it is every participant is given a name of one of the firefighters who was killed, which was 343 on that day. However many police officers and EMS professions. There's police officers representing EMS people representing those who were lost. And everyone's given a name, which is on that little lanyard there. And they're given what's known as an accountability tag, which is a small tag with the person's name on it. And after we climb 101 flights of stairs wearing full fire gear, which weighs about 60 pounds or so. So the Twin Towers were 101 stories tall. And we make that climb in honor of those who made that climb on September 11th and who were lost. And when we reach the top, we read the name of the firefighter who was lost on camera and ring a line of duty bell.
Oh.
And then that name is placed on a board.
I'm not going to make it today.
Pass it on.
What was really special about the event was they had a piece of steel that was used to make the World Trade Center, which not a lot of people get to touch such a thing. And before everyone made the climb, they got to put their hand on the piece of steel.
Aw.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was really special. It was the first time I've done such a thing, and I hope I can get in next year. There's actually a big waiting list for
firefighters to participate. So
Oh,
how many
yes.
firefighters participate? 300. You said 343.
Yes, ma'am. 343.
Which is the number of firefighters. And have you been to New York
Oh, yes.
since? Have you
Oh.
been to the museum?
I have not seen the museum, but I've been to New York so many times since I was a kid. In fact, I saw the Twin Towers when I was little.
Me too. I've been to
Yeah.
the top multiple times in my life.
My mother has, but I haven't. I used to just call them the big buildings, and it was always different. I mean, of course, I was just a 6-year-old kid when all that happened, but I was like, where the big buildings go?
Because these are the problems, like what time does to you, because you forget that you're 50, and those are things that I got to do as a kid. We've been as a family, but I have also been like on full class trips. We used to go on class trips and go to the top and learn the whole history of the building, and we would do the Empire State Building as well, and it was one of the coolest elevators because it did go super fast, and that was like the thing you remembered as a kid because you had to jump when you got to the top when it was stopping. And so I feel really privileged and honored that I got to be in that building as a kid multiple times, and that was a big part of my childhood and history, going over to New York City and getting to do that kind of stuff. So I hate that you never got to go in, but
Never got to go in, but I always saw it from the highway, and I'm like, wow.
I
But
think
now-
it's
Those are great
interesting.
buildings.
I think it's an interesting aspect when you said you were 6 and you always called them the big buildings, and then you're like, where did the big buildings go? Because as a kid, I'm sure you didn't necessarily even connect it.
Well, I do remember the day of
Sure.
September 11th. I mean, I was just a
Sure.
first grader, and I didn't have a real understanding of what
Right.
was transpiring because I was just a child.
Right.
But I do remember I was going to school, and I'm like, I don't want to go to school today. Today's a very bad day. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Go to school, maybe not even an hour elapses, and just one by one, kids are getting dismissed early. I'm like, this is odd. Then next thing I know, I get dismissed, and they're playing reruns of the second tower getting hit by the time I got home. My mother was crying, and it was terrible.
So was your father still a fireman at the time?
He was in Manchester, Connecticut at the time, but he didn't respond to the trade center, if that's what you're asking.
Well, I mean, but it's a family.
Oh yeah. I didn't know what was going on, but I was scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I got that deep into conversation with your dad to know that he was a fireman, or maybe we did discuss it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just know he's
this
like,
is way back. I was 7 years old, I think, when he stopped. I've got childhood pictures of me in the fire station with him.
that's awesome.
It's
That is,
one of my favorite things.
I can't remember. Is there any photos of him as a fireman hanging in the bagel shop here?
Not in the bagel shop, but at work, yes, I have a picture of him and I
He needs to hang one in there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I'll print one out.
Yeah, you need to do that. I frame it and just like don't even tell him and hang it up in there
Yeah.
somewhere and let him.
See if he ever sees it.
He'll notice it, but it might take some time. But just hang it up somewhere in the shop, or just put it somewhere.
Oh,
Because
I'm
I think
sure.
that's just an awesome piece of the family history. Because your family's history is just so rich anyway, and that's why it's so enjoyed getting to know your dad like that, and now you, and I mean this is huge. So, what was the discussion after you guys made this climb? All 304. First of all, was it quiet when you made this climb,
It
or
was
was there discussion amongst the firefighters?
it was pretty quiet for the most part, other than the noise of us just stomping up the stairs. I mean, some guys were taking a breather, and everyone was just encouraging each other. And hey, you got this. Keep going. It was a special experience, that's for sure.
I'm sure it was
Encouraging,
extremely somber.
yeah. And I mean, in carrying 60 pounds, I mean, it was a lot, and I think that was one of the most horrifying moments of watching it all unfold on live TV was when our firefighters were killed like that. It was just terrible. That that
yeah.
was such a massive impact.
I couldn't even imagine working that day. I mean, that's what I did. It was no comparison, because sure, I'm carrying 60 pounds up 110 flights of stairs, but I'm guaranteed to go home afterwards.
Yeah,
Right.
Those stairs aren't coming down on top
Yeah,
of you.
with what they were doing that day, there's just I
Right.
can't even hold a candle up to it.
Some of the interviews I recall watching, and I honestly I can't watch a lot of it. There was some stuff playing. I think it was Sunday night, and I was doing something on my computer in the kitchen, and I could see it. My husband was watching something on 60 Minutes, and I was like, I can't watch it just
Mhm.
because of my own experience and what I went through because I was in the air that day, and just it's home.
Right.
It's home, right? It's a different.
And being in the air that day, that must have been horrifying.
It we didn't know until we landed. Yeah, I don't know how
Oh.
much you got to hear sitting out there, but when we landed, and we were taxiing in is when the pilot came over the intercom and told us what had happened, that the first tower was hit, and he was given a choice as to whether to go on or turn back, go on to Denver or turn back to Dallas, and there was confusion between threats of Dulles and Dallas, and they didn't know, and so they were given a choice, and then what Todd and I had found out from watching, it was a year. I think it was the year, no, a year or two after. I can't remember. And we were in Napa, and whatever year it was that Napa got the big piece of steel because they've got a cross. It's all made out of steel, and it was just amazing. So I did get to touch that.
Nice.
And but we watched this thing on the last planes to land, and it was apparently close to where the fighter pilots were already in the air, and so they were just waiting on what planes they were going to need to go possibly shoot down or not.
Wow.
And so there were some things, I guess, that terrified my husband. After he saw that, he was like, "Holy shit, this could have turned out very differently." And so I feel very blessed that there was probably a few years of survivor's guilt from all the people that we flew with on a regular basis, and I didn't fly for 3 months. I couldn't get on a plane, and finally my boss was like, "Okay, it's time." Like, get moving or you're fired. It was kind of like that, but she didn't say it like that. And so I was like, all right, I'll go get on. And at this point, when you're flying out of a place like Lubbock and you're flying for business all the time, you're flying with the same people every day. Like, all of the Texas Tech, football recruiters and those guys were all you flew with the same people, and everybody who got on the planes every morning or every evening or whatever it was, we all looked at each other like, yep, I got you. I got you. And we're all profiling. Every single one of us is profiling. And and you do. You can't help it. It's not a bad thing. You're looking out for the safety of the plane and the people around you. And so, call it what you want, but everybody does it. And you should do it. because I think you should always be aware of your surroundings and who's on a plane. And I'm very grateful today knowing that every time I get on a plane, there is a marshal somewhere on that plane, and nobody needs to know who it is, but you know that someone's there. So that brings me a feeling of safety.
Well,
So-
and that how tight they have it now just to even be able to fly. Like they have so many different precautions now that they are now taking, and they have different equipment and things that they're using too, as well as intelligence to.
Oh, yeah.
And they're screening everybody that's coming now onto the planes, and they had to change that. They had to make it to where they were enforcing that a lot more, or doing it better.
I got annoyed for the first few years after 9/11 because, and not because of the safety procedures and not because of TSA, but it was the people complaining.
That's what was upsetting
It was the
me.
people complaining. And I'm like, I fly almost every day, 3 to 4 times a week for my job. And these people who are getting on the planes and working and flying the plane, I mean, it's their safety. It's our safety. It's our children.
Absolutely.
How dare you get pissed off at people who want to, I can't believe they're making me take my shoes off and they're patting me down, and just take it as a freebie. Okay. Someone felt you up. I mean, I have never been ever have I had to experience in an airport where I was inappropriately frisked or, whatever. It's like, check what you want, it's just my chastity belt, I mean, and we'd make joke, we would, try to make some fun, from it. I mean, you don't joke about weapons. And I did lose one really, really awesome knife because I forgot it was in my bag. But, I was like, is what it is, because I have to get on that plane.
Yes.
It's boarding in 10 minutes.
So tell us more about, like, you've got this coin here and that you got for the stair climb, I guess, or is that just
so the coin that's just part of my new coin collection now. They gave the coin to everyone that completed the challenge, and if you look on that yellow sticker next to it, they gave everybody a reflective yellow tetrahedron with the memorial stair climb on it.
Oh, I love
awesome.
it.
That's awesome.
I love it. I'm going to pop that picture back up for everybody so
That's
they can.
so cool.
If you're watching, you can see this, and if you're listening on the radio, you can always go back to YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, and watch this replay again. And William will show him how to share this onto his personal page. So
It's really
anybody
cool
who,
little
I would love that.
yeah,
badge of honor.
Yes.
Yeah.
it's super
Pretty cool.
super cool.
Really cool.
So okay, so I'm going to pop this picture up first, though, really quick. So can you tell me who's in this picture?
Oh, of course I can. That's our engineer, Travis Broom. That's Dalton Thompson. That's yours truly. That is John Rapole. That is Michelle. She works for Lockheed Fire Department.
Oh,
and there's a
cool.
couple other Lockheed guys that we know. They respond with us to emergencies.
I was going to say they have their own
They
in-house
do.
fire
They
department.
do. Lockheed Martin is so big. They have specialty like hazmat and all sorts of things there.
Well,
But-
they have
Wow.
to because of the equipment and things like.
Oh,
right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would just never think about a company being so large like that they have their own. So just have to tell everybody that I mean, for your entire team and everybody that you work with in White Settlement and Lockheed, to thank you for their service and how proud we are of all of them and all of our firefighters, here in Johnson County and beyond. My brother-in-law is a 26 year, I think he's done 26 or 27 years. Robbie Payne's been in Irving fireman, and my cousin Jonathan is a fireman in Fair Lawn, New Jersey.
I know that is.
And yeah, so well, I love Manahawkin. I'm like, take me down to Manahawkin.
Manahawkin's my childhood town.
I know that was like one of our places that we would go to and hang out. So, and I still have friends there today, and I have family all over up there like you guys do. But my cousin Jonathan's a fireman, and so we're a family of service, and you're a family of service, and it's without them and those that we lost, the 343 that we lost, and that's just the day of, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that really quick. We've got 3 minutes left, but there are firefighters. I don't know the actual number, how many we've lost since then, who lost their lives to cancer, lung cancer, lung issues, COPD, from the dust that they inhaled during the cleanup from that day.
Yep.
And with police officers who also, died because of stuff like that too.
Yeah, it's
So
very unfortunately, that number is in fact approaching 343 as well.
yeah, it's high. It's high up there.
Wow.
And so it
Wow.
just, prayers for all their families and prayers for continued health and recovery for all of them. And I remember watching some of the documentaries where some of the firefighters who actually made it out of the building that day before it collapsed, and how the trauma, the survivors' guilt and trauma they have from that was just horrific. And that's just hard to watch and listen to their stories. But so when you guys did come down from the climb, because we didn't get to finish this part, what was some of the conversations you guys had from your experience?
We were all just proud we finished it together. There was a whole crowd outside of the building of just onlookers. They're cheering everybody on as they came out. It was pretty special. We all got together and ate afterwards. And
how many climbs are happening?
So there's one
at the same time.
A lot of major cities do this. There's also one in Fort Worth as well. I know of San Antonio, and I believe New York City does one as well.
Yes,
But,
I know New York City does one for sure. So, and all on the same day? I mean, does everybody do it on?
It's usually the 9th, and some of them actually do occur on September 11th. But the other places, I'm not too sure of the exact dates, but it is a nationwide thing.
I want to say thank you so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming.
you.
And
Hey,
like
thank
such,
you all so much for having me.
I really feel honored to be here today with you. That's
Oh, I'm the
it's
one that's
incredible,
honored.
really.
well, I know you never got to be in the towers as a kid, but you got to touch a piece of the inside.
That was special.
And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that
I
is
bet.
that just gave me goosebumps actually, because that is because there's just so many souls attached to that piece of metal and steel, and we're all here today, because of the grace of God and the way the country comes together over stuff like this. I mean, like,
Yes.
we were tight after 9/11. I mean, really, really tight.
I agree.
I hate that it takes tragedy of that type of level to see communities come together, and hopefully, as we pass September 11th again, and we keep this in our forefronts, that hopefully our community, and I'm going to talk specifically of our community, will start just healing and coming together, and stop allowing hate to create such divisiveness. Because look what it did. Look what hate did to our country on
Right.
9/11.
Yeah.
22 years ago. And, so we have to be a voice and a force for that. All right. One last happy moment here at the end. Jeff Brewer, who is our favorite Aussie who's watching this morning, wants to know, Taylor ham, 3 question marks. Please explain it to this Aussie. It's pork roll. Look it up, and it's the only way. It's the best thing you'll ever eat in your entire life. It's a cross between bacon and Canadian bacon. That's kind of how I describe it, okay? But it's deliciousness. And bologna. It's like bacon, bologna, and Canadian bacon. William Sclafani, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you all once
Have an amazing day, guys. Enjoy the weather. Be kind. God bless.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a